Ryan lived on the edge of the forest in a small weathered cabin that barely held warmth in the cold autumn nights. He liked it that way, quiet, simple, away from the city's chaos. But that night the forest seemed alive, restless, as if it was waiting. Ryan was closing the cabin door when a strange light flickered among the trees. At first he thought it was a reflection from the moon, but the light pulsed, almost breathing. Curiosity pried at him, and he stepped outside. The cold air bit at his cheeks, but he barely noticed. There, just beyond the edge of the clearing, stood a girl. Or maybe she was more than a girl. Her skin shimmered faintly, like silver under moonlight, and her eyes were wide and deep, reflecting the stars. She didn't look human, not really, yet there was something familiar about her expression: fear, loneliness, and a quiet hope. Ryan's heart tightened. He had grown up learning to help others, and something about this girl told him she needed him. He took a cautious step forward. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice sounded small in the vast forest, but she flinched at the sound, yet did not run. Her gaze met his, and he saw the subtle tremble in her hands. I need shelter," she whispered. Her voice was musical, strange, almost echoing in his mind, but he understood every word. Without hesitation, Ryan nodded. "Come with me. My cabin isn't far. You can stay there." She looked at him, hesitation in her eyes, and then slowly, cautiously, she followed. Every step she took seemed to light up the ground faintly, tiny sparks reflecting from the grass beneath her. Ryan's mind raced. Who was she? Where had she come from? But he pushed his questions aside. Right now, she needed safety. The walk was silent except for the crunch of frost under their feet. Ryan kept glancing at her, worried about her fragile frame. The night wind teased the edges of her hair, and her eyes seemed to glow faintly with every pulse of movement. He felt a shiver, not from the cold, but from something powerful and unknown. When they reached his cabin, Ryan opened the door and gestured inside. "Warm up, drink this," he said, offering her a mug of steaming tea. She took it with delicate hands, her fingers brushing his ever so slightly. Ryan noticed how gentle she was, almost fragile. She sipped slowly, and for a moment they just sat there staring at the fire, letting the warmth settle into their bones. "Do you have a name?" Ryan asked softly. "Lyra," she replied, her voice almost a whisper. It felt like a secret the wind had carried to him. "Lyra," he repeated, smiling. "It's a beautiful name." Lyra's lips curved slightly, a tiny, shy smile, and for the first time, Ryan felt a connection deeper than words. She was afraid, yes, but there was trust too. A fragile trust she had not offered anyone before. He could feel it. As the night deepened, the cabin seemed to grow warmer, almost as if it knew she was there. Ryan watched her, fascinated by every small gesture, the way she wrapped the blanket tighter around her shoulders, the way her eyes lingered on the flames. Something about her presence felt alive, almost magical. Ryan knew he didn't have all the answers. He didn't know who or what Lyra was. But he knew this. No one deserved to be alone in the cold, not even someone from another world. And as he sat quietly, watching the girl who had suddenly entered his life, he made a silent promise to protect her, to offer her warmth and safety no matter what. Little did he know, Lyra's arrival was only the beginning. Something strange was stirring within her, a season that could change everything, not just for her, but for Ryan and maybe for the whole world. And yet, in that small cabin on that quiet night, all that mattered was that she was safe. The next morning, the forest was quiet, bathed in soft golden light. Ryan had woken before sunrise, making coffee and sitting by the window, keeping an eye on Lyra as she moved through the cabin with delicate, careful steps. She seemed almost otherworldly, every motion precise, graceful, as if she were aware of every sound and shadow. For a few days, Ryan and Lyra settled into a cautious rhythm. She helped him with chores, sweeping, carrying firewood, fixing broken shelves, but always gently, never hurried. And though she didn't speak much, her presence was calming. Ryan found himself telling her things he had never told anyone, memories of his childhood, dreams he had abandoned, fears he carried quietly in his heart. Lyra listened, her wide silver eyes reflecting understanding, as if she could feel his thoughts without words. But Ryan soon noticed subtle changes. Lyra's skin seemed to glow faintly in the dark, the silver shimmer more noticeable. She moved with more energy than before, yet there were moments she froze, staring off into space with an expression of unease. One evening, while he was chopping wood outside, Ryan glanced at her and saw her body shiver. Not from cold, but from something deeper, more natural, and uncontrollable. "Lyra?" he called softly, lowering the axe. She looked at him, eyes wide, panicked, and whispered, "It is." "Starting." Ryan froze. "Starting? What's starting?" Her hands trembled as she sat down on the porch steps, pulling her knees close. "My season. It comes once. When I leave my world, I cannot control it. It is part of me." Her voice faltered, almost breaking. "It is strong, strange, dangerous." Ryan's heart raced. He had never felt fear like this. Fear for someone who was not human, but someone who had somehow become real to him. Someone who mattered more than anything else in his quiet life. He sat beside her, careful not to touch her without permission. "Dangerous how?" he asked gently. Lyra looked at him, tears forming in her silver eyes. I could hurt others. I don't want to. But it is in who I am." Ryan took a deep breath. He didn't fully understand, but he understood enough to know one thing. She needed him. "Then we'll face it together," he said firmly. "Whatever happens, you're not alone. I won't leave you. I promise." Her eyes shimmered, and a single tear fell onto her hand, glowing faintly as it landed. You would stay?" "Of course," Ryan said without hesitation. "I'll stay. I'll protect you." That night, the first signs of her season appeared. Lyra's body glowed brighter, a soft, pulsating light flowing like waves across her skin. The cabin walls seemed to hum with energy, responding to her presence. Ryan stayed close, holding her hand, whispering words of comfort. The warmth of his hand grounded her, anchoring her to something familiar. Outside, the wind picked up, howling through the trees. The forest seemed alive, as if it were reacting to her strange season, bending to her invisible rhythm. Ryan felt fear, yes, but also awe. Lyra was incredible, powerful in ways he couldn't yet understand. And somehow he knew humanity's greatest strength wasn't just in technology or intelligence. It was in compassion, the ability to stand by someone when the world feared them. Hours passed. Lyra trembled, shivered, and her glow gradually softened. By dawn, she was exhausted, curled against Ryan on the cabin floor, safe and alive. Ryan stroked her hair, whispering softly, "You made it through the night. I'm still here. You're safe." Lyra's chest rose and fell, and a faint smile appeared. I am grateful." Ryan smiled back, feeling a mix of relief and something deeper. Connection, trust, and the beginnings of a bond that transcended worlds. He realized that the strange season was not just a challenge. It was a bridge, a chance to show her that even in fear, even in danger, the human heart could be a place of refuge, warmth, and understanding. And as the first light of morning crept through the windows, Ryan knew one thing clearly: life with Lyra would never be ordinary. But he was ready to face the unknown, together. Night fell faster than Ryan expected, the sky darkening to a deep velvet scattered with stars. The cabin felt small, almost fragile against the vastness of the forest outside. Ryan had spent the evening quietly, fixing the fire and keeping a watchful eye on Lyra. She sat near the window, gazing into the dark trees, her silver skin faintly glowing in the firelight. There was a tension in her shoulders he hadn't noticed before, and her fingers twitched nervously. Then, without warning, her body shivered violently. Ryan froze, heart pounding. "Lyra!" he called, rushing to her side. Her eyes were wide, reflecting light like twin moons. It is beginning," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her glow brightened suddenly, pulsing in rhythm with a heartbeat faster than any human's. The firelight flickered as if responding to her energy, casting long dancing shadows on the walls. Ryan reached out, placing his hands gently on hers. "I'm right here," he said firmly. "I won't let anything happen to you." She gasped, almost overwhelmed by the intensity coursing through her. "I cannot control it. It spreads everywhere." Her words faltered, broken by the tremors running through her body. Ryan realized she meant her energy. The strange season within her was not just personal. It seemed to affect the space around her. Objects subtly shifted, the fire flickered violently, and even the trees outside swayed as though moved by an invisible force. Ryan took a steadying breath. He had faced challenges in life, but never anything like this. Look at me, Lyra. Focus on my voice. Breathe with me. You are safe. You are not alone. She nodded, though barely, her glowing skin now radiating light so bright that it nearly blinded him. Ryan guided her to the center of the cabin, the one space with nothing to break or shatter. Lean on me, he said softly. I'll hold you. Just let it pass. Hours passed. The storm of her season raged inside and around her, yet Ryan stayed firm, holding her close. Hey, she whispered encouragement, sometimes simply humming, letting the warmth of human touch anchor her. The room, charged with her energy, seemed alive. Objects moved slightly, the fire danced unpredictably, and the wind outside howled like a chorus responding to her presence. Through it all, Ryan felt a strange awe. Lyra was not dangerous by choice. She was magnificent by nature. Her power was overwhelming, but he could see her fear beneath it. The fragile heart of someone who simply wanted to belong, to survive, to be loved despite being different, and he would not abandon her. As the first rays of dawn crept through the windows, Lyra's trembling eased. Her glow softened into a gentle shimmer and her breathing returned to normal. She collapsed into Ryan's arms, exhausted but alive. Ryan held her close, careful not to rush, murmuring soothing words. You made it, he said, his voice husky from hours of tension. You're safe. I'm still here. Lyra lifted her head slightly, her silver eyes glistening with tears. I did not want to frighten you, she whispered. I am not human. Ryan shook his head, smiling softly. You don't have to be. You're Lyra, that's enough. You're amazing, and you've survived this night. That's what matters. For the first time, she allowed herself to relax fully in his presence. Her energy still shimmered faintly, a reminder of the strange season within her, but it was no longer overwhelming. It was a glow she could share, a light he could help guide. And in that quiet moment, Ryan understood something profound. Humanity's greatest power was not just in strength or knowledge, but in compassion, patience, and courage. The ability to stand with someone when the world was chaotic. Strange and terrifying, Lyra rested against him, exhausted but safe. And Ryan knew that their bond had grown stronger than the fear of the unknown. Whatever challenges her strange season brought, he would face them with her. Together they had survived the first night, and for Ryan, that was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The morning after Lyra's first night of intense energy, the forest around Ryan's cabin felt different. Sunlight filtered through the trees in unusual patterns, and the dew sparkled more brightly than usual. Even the birds seemed drawn closer, singing with a strange harmony. Ryan noticed all of this, but his focus was on Lyra, who sat quietly on the porch, her silver skin now calm but still glowing faintly. She didn't speak at first, staring at her hands as if she could see the power pulsing within them. Ryan approached slowly, keeping a respectful distance. How are you feeling? He asked softly. Lyra's eyes met his, wide and vulnerable. I am afraid, she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. I did not want to hurt anyone. But the season, it is part of me. I cannot control it. Humans, they fear what they cannot understand. I am not sure they would forgive me if they saw. Ryan knelt beside her, placing a steadying hand over hers. Then let them see it. Let them see you for what you are, not what they fear. You're not dangerous, Lyra. You're extraordinary. She shook her head, fear still glinting in her silver eyes. I have left my world to survive, and now I may bring danger to yours. I wish only to be safe, to live quietly. But my nature, it does not allow quiet. Ryan took a deep breath. He didn't fully understand her alien biology or the strange rhythm of her season, but he understood her fear and her heart. We don't have to hide, he said firmly. You have a choice in how to use your power. You can control it with patience, and I will help you. For the first time, Lyra let herself relax slightly. She leaned against him, though she still seemed uncertain. Ryan could feel the faint hum of her energy, a living rhythm that seemed to respond to his presence. They really mean that? She asked, voice trembling. Of course, he replied. I've already promised. You're not alone, not while I'm here. Over the next few days, Ryan began to understand more about Lyra's strange season. Her energy pulsed in cycles, waxing and waning like the tides, affecting everything around her. Plants grew faster near her. Small animals approached without fear, and even the air felt charged with life. It was beautiful, but it frightened her. I am unnatural here, she confessed one evening. Even my touch, it changes things. I am not human. I'm different, Ryan smiled softly. Being different doesn't mean being dangerous. It means being special. And special things deserve care and understanding. You are not a threat, Lyra. You're a gift. Her eyes shimmered with tears, reflecting his sincerity. No one has ever spoken to me like this. Not like you. I do not know how to feel. Safe. You don't have to know yet, Ryan said. Just feel it. Feel that you can trust me. That's the first step. For the first time since she arrived, Lyra allowed herself to imagine a life that wasn't defined by fear. She watched the forest through the cabin window, seeing how life responded to her presence without destruction. Ryan's confidence gave her courage, a reminder that the universe could embrace even the strangest forms of life if met with understanding. Ryan realized, too, that humanity's true strength was not in power or control. It was in empathy, patience, and the courage to stand with those who were different. Lyra's season, strange and unpredictable as it was, could become a bridge rather than a threat. By nightfall, Lyra sat beside him on the porch, her glow soft but steady. She rested her head on his shoulder and whispered, I think I am ready to try to show, not hide. Ryan wrapped an arm around her, feeling the pulse of her energy. Gentle now, almost soothing. We'll face this together, he said. No fear, no hiding. Just trust and care. That's what makes us human. And now, part of your world, too. And as the stars appeared, mirrored in her silver eyes, both of them understood something profound. True strength lay not in control, but in trust, compassion, and the willingness to face the unknown together. Days passed, and the small cabin on the edge of the forest became a place of quiet wonder. Ryan and Lyra fell into a routine, though neither called it that. She would wake early, moving through the cabin with her gentle grace, helping him with chores, gathering firewood, or repairing old furniture with uncanny skill. Her presence made even mundane tasks feel special, and Ryan often caught himself smiling at the simplest things, how her silver hair shimmered in the sunlight, or how her eyes reflected every tiny movement around her. Lyra's season had become more predictable, ebbing and flowing like a tide. Some mornings she glowed softly, almost like moonlight, and by afternoon her energy would wane, leaving her resting in quiet reflection. Ryan had learned to read her subtle signs, how she shifted in her seat, how her hands trembled ever so slightly, or how her eyes widened when her power stirred. He learned patience, restraint, and how to offer comfort without overwhelming her. One morning they ventured into the nearby town together. Lyra hesitated at the edge of the forest, her glow faint but visible. Ryan gently held her hand. It's okay, he whispered. I'm right here. No one will hurt you. The townspeople stopped and stared, eyes wide. Murmurs spread like wildfire. What is that? Is she human? She glows. But Ryan didn't flinch. He stepped forward, standing beside Lyra. She's a friend, he said simply. She's not dangerous, she just looks different. Some people stepped back uncertain, but curiosity overcame fear. Children approached first, drawn to the soft, calming light of her skin. Lyra smiled faintly, the gesture small but genuine, and reached out to let a little girl touch her glowing hand. The girl giggled, amazed, and soon others followed. Ryan felt a surge of pride. Humanity, he realized, could embrace what it didn't understand. Compassion, patience, and trust could bridge worlds. Lyra's presence was extraordinary, yes, but it was also a lesson that even the most alien of beings could find acceptance if someone stood firmly beside them. Back at the cabin, Lyra rested against him, exhausted from the social interaction but smiling.
They did not run, she said softly, eyes shimmering.
They accepted me. You helped them see, Ryan replied. Not just by being here, but by trusting them and letting them trust you. They spent the evening under the stars, sharing stories. Ryan spoke of Earth's history, of human struggles and triumphs, and Lyra shared fragments of her world. Distant stars, strange seasons, and life far beyond comprehension. She laughed sometimes, a musical sound that made Ryan's chest feel light. He realized he had never felt so connected to anyone before, not even humans. Lyra's season, though still present, no longer frightened her completely. She learned to channel it gently, letting it flow without harm. Tiny flowers bloomed wherever she walked. Small animals followed her in curiosity, and even the wind seemed to carry a soft hum in her presence. It was as if her power, once terrifying, had become part of the world rather than a threat to it. Ryan watched her carefully, admiration and affection swelling in his chest. He saw courage, resilience, and an unyielding spirit, qualities humanity often prided itself on, mirrored in someone so different yet so remarkable. At night, they would sit close together, sharing warmth and stories. Lyra's glow was gentle, her energy soothing, and Ryan often whispered words of comfort, of encouragement, of quiet love. They did not speak of what the future might hold. There was no need. Right now, the bond they shared was enough. In the stillness of the cabin, the soft crackle of the fire and the faint hum of Lyra's presence, Ryan realized something profound. Sometimes extraordinary beings need ordinary humanity, compassion, patience, trust, to survive and flourish. And sometimes humanity discovers its greatest strength not in conquering, but in embracing the unknown. That night, Lyra rested against him, her soft glow mingling with the firelight, and Ryan knew with certainty that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The night sky had turned a deep, endless black, pierced by cold starlight. Ryan sat near the cabin window, his eyes scanning the forest, but his mind was with Lyra. He had learned to sense the subtle shifts in her energy, the quiet tension in her movements that signaled her season was rising. And tonight, it was stronger than ever. Lyra's glow had begun to intensify hours ago, starting as a gentle shimmer and slowly growing into a pulsing, radiant light that seemed to breathe with its own life. Ryan had watched her carefully, offering quiet reassurances, but he could feel the tension radiating from her. Her trembling had become more pronounced, her silver eyes wide with fear, and her hands shook as though she could no longer hold herself together. "It's coming faster this time," she whispered, her voice quivering. "I cannot stop it. I can feel it spreading, and I do not know if it will hurt." Ryan knelt beside her, taking her hands gently in his. "Then we face it together," he said firmly. "I will not leave you, Lyra. Whatever happens, I am here." The forest responded instantly. Trees bent as if in submission, leaves rustled violently, and small animals scurried for safety. But none ran from Lyra. Her energy had become a storm contained in a fragile body, radiant and unpredictable. Ryan held her close, feeling the pulsing warmth emanating from her. His heart raced, but he kept calm, focusing on the steady rhythm of his breathing. "Focus on me," he whispered, gripping her hands. "You're not alone. Breathe with me. Let my presence anchor you." Lyra's tears fell freely now, shimmering in her glow. "I am afraid," she admitted, voice breaking. "I cannot control the power inside me." Ryan's chest tightened, but he did not waver. "I know," he said, "and that's okay. Fear does not mean weakness. It means you care. It means you are alive. I will not let you face this alone." The energy around them surged, bending the air, tugging at branches outside. The cabin trembled with the intensity, but Ryan stayed beside her, whispering encouragement, hums, and soft words of love. He let her lean against him, let her pulse against his warmth, and offered every ounce of comfort his human body could provide. Hours passed like minutes. Lyra's glow brightened and dimmed in waves, each stronger than the last. Ryan kept her, grounded with quiet touch, with words that reminded her she was not a threat but a being worthy of care and protection. Gradually, the storm within her subsided. Her body slowed, tremors easing, and the radiant light softened into a gentle, comforting shimmer. Finally, she collapsed into his arms, exhausted, tears running freely down her silver cheeks. Ryan held her, whispering, "You made it. You survived. You are safe. I am here, and I will always be here." Lyra's chest rose and fell, her breathing returning to normal. Her wide, fear-filled eyes softened, reflecting relief and trust. "You stayed," she whispered. "You did not leave." Ryan smiled softly, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. "I promised," he said. And promises are for keeping. No matter how strange, how powerful, or how frightening, I will always stay with you. For the first time since arriving on Earth, Lyra allowed herself to feel the full weight of safety and care. Her energy, once overwhelming, now rested gently, a soft glow mingling with the firelight. She understood that the human heart could be a harbor, a place of calm in the storm of her alien existence. And Ryan realized with quiet awe that humanity's greatest strength was not in power, control, or knowledge, but in compassion, patience, and courage. Even in the face of overwhelming fear and alien force, love and trust could anchor someone, make them survive, and help them thrive. As Lyra rested in his arms, exhausted but alive, the first rays of dawn began to break over the forest. The night had tested them, pushed them to the edge, and yet together they had endured. And in that shared survival, they discovered a truth more powerful than any fear. They could face the unknown. Together. The sun rose slowly over the forest, spilling golden light through the trees and casting long shadows across Ryan's cabin. For the first time in weeks, the air felt calm. Lyra rested beside him on the porch, her silver glow faint but steady, no longer pulsing wildly. Her strange season had passed its most dangerous peak, and she felt lighter, more in control. Ryan watched her quietly, marveling at how extraordinary she was, not just her alien beauty or powers, but her courage, resilience, and the trust she had placed in him. He could still remember the first night, when her energy had raged uncontrollably, and he had thought they might not make it through. But they had, and together they had grown stronger. Lyra lifted her head and looked at him, her eyes shimmering in the morning light. "I feel safe," she whispered. "I have never felt like this before. Not in my world. Not anywhere." "You are safe," Ryan said softly, taking her hand in his, "and you will stay that way. I will always be here." They sat in silence for a while, letting the calm of the forest wash over them. Then Ryan suggested gently, "Would you like to meet the town today? Just to show them yourself?" Lyra hesitated, but this time her fear was tempered by trust. "I will try," she said, and rose to her feet, her glow steady. Together they walked down the narrow forest path toward the town. The townspeople paused as they approached. Some had heard rumors, some had seen flashes of light in the forest, but no one knew what to expect. Lyra's presence was mesmerizing, her silver skin glowing softly, her eyes reflecting curiosity and wonder rather than fear. Children approached first, laughing and reaching out, and she allowed them to touch her hand, smiling genuinely. Adults followed, cautious at first, but Ryan's calm presence beside her reassured them. "She's amazing," someone whispered. "Look at how gentle she is." By midday, the town had gathered near the edge of the forest, watching quietly but without fear. Lyra's glow interacted with the world naturally now. Flowers grew wherever she walked. The wind seemed to carry a gentle hum, and even the sun felt warmer in her presence. The townspeople realized that she was not a threat, but a gift. And Ryan realized something profound. Humanity's true strength lay in the ability to accept, to protect, and to nurture, even what it did not fully understand. After the town accepted her, Ryan and Lyra returned to the cabin, tired but happy. She sat close to him, leaning against his shoulder. "I never thought humans could be like this," she said softly. "So kind, so patient, so strong." Ryan smiled, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. "We can be. And you've shown me something too, that even the strangest, most powerful beings can find a home here." They spent the evening under the stars, sharing stories of Earth and distant worlds. Lyra laughed, her musical voice filling the quiet cabin and forest with warmth. Her energy, once unpredictable and terrifying, now felt like a part of life, a beautiful, living thing that could exist in harmony with humanity. And in that moment, Ryan understood the truth behind the human heart. It was capable of love, courage, and acceptance far beyond the confines of the known world. Even against the unknown, even against the extraordinary, humans could stand tall, embrace difference, and protect what mattered most. Lyra rested her head against him, her glow soft and steady. "I am ready," she whispered. "Ready to live, to belong." Ryan kissed her forehead gently. "You already belong," he said. "Here, with me, and with humanity." The stars above shone down on the two of them, reflecting in Lyra's silver eyes. A quiet wind rustled through the trees, carrying with it a promise of a future filled with trust, understanding, and shared life. And as they sat together, human and alien, heart and light, they knew one thing clearly. No matter how strange the universe became, love, compassion, and courage would always be enough to bridge worlds. In that quiet cabin at the edge of the forest, they had found something extraordinary, not just survival, but connection, acceptance, and hope. And for both of them, that was only the beginning.